propositions can be either true or false, but there are other logics, non-classical logics, in which propositions may be true and false, or neither true nor false. So an example of neither true nor false would be statements about the future, like "it will rain tomorrow." Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Like even Aristotle acknowledged that one. And then we have nonsensical statements like the current king of France is bald. Well, there is no current king of France. Like, what are you talking about? Then we have things that are both true and false. This one's even more foreign, even to modern philosophers. They'll say, but the proponents of this will say that the liar sentence, for example, is an example of something that's both true and false. Because in classical logic, that's a paradox. They can't make sense out of it. And people who subscribe to a paraconsistent logic or a dialethic logic will say, "What are you talking about? It's obvious. It's just both true and false." In real life too, you have in quantum theory, you have electrons that spin both clockwise and counterclockwise, and that doesn't make sense in our macro world, right? You can't have like a marble or a coin spinning both ways at once, but the math checks out. That's really how it does happen. So some physicists consider the possibility of subscribing to one of those logics because it's the only way to make sense out of their theories. Then you have the arguments against these logics. They'll say, well, contradictions have no content, so they can't be true. Well, this argument is not only an argument against dialethic logic, but also against classical logic, because in classical logic, contradictions entail everything. And there have been logical models described where contradictions have no meaning, but if they didn't, there'd be nothing to disagree with, which there usually is. Then you'll also have people say, well, the law of non-contradiction stands because something can be true and false. And when they believe that because it's a contradiction, but when we're arguing that contradictions can be true, your argument just begs the question. You're arguing in a circle. It's a logical fallacy, and is not a valid argument. Lastly, you have people say, well, if you can say that something is both true and false, you could never be rationally criticized. Let's say you come to me and you point an inconsistency in my argument. I'll just say to you, yeah, I understand that my statement contradicts my previous statement, but I still stand by both my statements. And you'll be left like, holy crap, well, like, how can I argue with you then? My response would be that I don't think all contradictions are true, just some. The rational person apportions their beliefs according to the evidence. And if the evidence is for inconsistent propositions, then so be it. Let's say you have the rational virtues, which are simplicity, problem-solving ability, non-ad hocness, fruitfulness, and consistency. These criteria are all independent of one another and may point in different directions. So if they all point one way and consistency in another, I'll simply pick the one to which the most evidence points.